Welcome on in to a Tuesday, which we usually don't stream on Tuesday, but welcome on in. We are looking at the S&P 500 making a push, not to new all-time high, but it is getting closer and closer and closer to a new all-time high. And I feel like at some point, maybe we test those all-time highs. Maybe tomorrow we send us back down. We shall see. A decent amount to talk about, but right now we're looking at SPY, which is currently sitting at 463.56 this second as I speak. Which is pretty impressive, man. It's not, is it super surprising? I guess you can look back to some it will be surprising. I just think it's impressive, but really because of the move as of late, I don't think that these other moves were super insane. This move is pretty insane, I think, from where it was, just about a month, a little month and a half ago, roughly. But we had a period of consolidation, which was pretty boring, I will say, for a good week and a half, 2 weeks, really, as we finished off November and began December, where SPY was in 453 to 455, 457, that range for a bit. Now it's broke that range and making a nice push to the upside. Funny thing is that CPI came out today. We can look at CPI numbers if you want, which may as well. CPI came out today. I believe it came in line with expectations, like for the most part, across, the main numbers. And then tomorrow is the Fed. So Jerome Powell and the Fed are going to be speaking tomorrow. They're going to be talking about, raising rates. I don't think they're raising rates. Probably stopping or cutting rates next year. I think that's probably where a lot of the questions may start to push Powell. Maybe cutting next year. That's kind of his, where it seems like the narrative has shifted market-wise. And my suspicion is that Powell will want to walk back that narrative in not in a massive fashion, but at least in a decent fashion. I don't think Powell's going to come out and say, we're cutting rates in March. No, he's not going to fucking do that. Relax. So it'll be how much can people pull out of him? What does he give? Does he say anything, if he says anything at all? So that's the deal. What's going on, Flippo? We're going to have, I think the plan for tomorrow is I usually we'll stream the Powell thing. I honestly have, based off the past couple of Powell, live streams we've had, they're so boring. I don't mean that in I don't care, this is important. This stuff is technically important, financial or economic information and news. But I really don't care about the questions that get asked. To the degree that they get asked, they are asking the same exact questions every single time. Of course, we won't do one. We'll have some massive reactions, whatever. Either way, we'll come on. I'll stream at the end of the day. He might still be talking. He might not, but we'll have a stream tomorrow afternoon. That's the plan, where we can kind of unpack whatever occurred. But at that point, we'll be dealing with more interesting information because, Powell comes on, he'll do his thing, the market's going to react, and then at that point, oh shit, we're going higher. Oh shit, we're breaking down in a big way, or nothing happened. And we can be like, this is kind of boring, so that's it. But that's kind of the thought for me tomorrow. Oil took a beating today. Oil is getting nailed. We'll look at that here in a second. Short corn. Leave me alone, can't stand the rally. Hey, I feel like a lot of people kind of feel the same way, right? I have partaken in to a degree, but at this point in time, I'm just leaving. I have 2 positions. One of them is quite small, and the other one I sold 60% of already. So I'm literally just waiting for it to either hit final take profit or stop loss on that one. And then I have a position on Meta, which is just I think it's up net, it's up from my entry, but it's so far from the stop loss and so far from my take profit. So I'm I don't know, I'm just leaving it alone. So that's all I really have. I don't really care. And then I have my portfolio, which, is doing its thing. But yeah, I don't really care. This week was tough. On Friday, I'm driving 17 hours, not really 17. I'm driving a long way. So obviously, only can do so much in that situation. So I'm not trying to be in a situation where I'm oh shit, I got a lot to do. No, I don't want to have massive positions open on Friday. So the rest of this week, we got the news. So CPI was today, we got PPI tomorrow, and then Powell in the afternoon. And then Thursday is, Thursday shouldn't be much, right? Thursday is just going to be jobless claims in the morning, which is, moves the market a little bit and then it stops. Or then whatever happens. So nothing insane. So it should be the bulk of the stuff is coming tomorrow. Really, well, CPI was big. I'd say tomorrow is like the second half of the data this week. So whatever happens there, great. Whatever, SPY is just continuing to rip higher as we speak. But I will say we look to be on a pretty low volume day on SPY. So SPY is approaching the highs of this morning. The initial spike off of CPI market actually sold off. We spiked up to almost 360 or 464, fell back to 460 and 60 cents, and then have recovered. But this move, it looks like it's massive. Right? This move looks huge from the lows of the morning. Well, it's approximately $3, which really is not that big. I mean, it's not bad, right? But it's not that insane for, a news event. Like it's like, oh my god, So, either way, market's going for more. SPY is pushing higher. It is what it is. It's just that's what's happening. So, you can like it, you cannot like it. New high of the day, broke pre-market highs as I am speaking. So, the cool thing is that. Which I think is going to be, I say cool because it's going to be like getting people all uptight about, oh, I don't think so. Is going to be the all-time high approach. We are now, we're, what is that? $16 away from all-time highs on SPY. That gap is getting smaller and smaller and smaller as we go, which is like, oh shit. Are we going to get it? And if we get it, 500 is and 520 and then that's how it's going to be. You can see how it's going to go. But of course, a long way to go still. But $16 is not that. If SPY reacts well to the next 2 days, I think $16, that number could be cut in half for all we know. We could be looking $8 away from all-time highs, which is like 1 week away, not even off of potentially what SPY could do in a week, right? So that said, I think the biggest things will be as we approach this second half of December, which is historically the strongest period of December, like the strongest time, like one of the strongest times of the year, I believe, if not the strongest time of the year, I'll be looking close at sentiment, looking close at, charts and stuff and seeing what we've got. The bullish sentiment has definitely been socked in for a couple of weeks now. And the longer it stays socked in and the more aggressive the move up, the more skeptical I think we should be about like getting long, right? Like, is that... be real, right? Let's just be on like, yes, you are in breakout mode, but again, breakouts are great until they're not. They eventually will stop and then we'll have a consolidation or a pullback or whatever. So just be careful, be aware of that. I think, the farther we go, the more impressive it can be, the more extreme the moves can be. However, the higher the risk or the larger the risk could be if you don't manage risk properly or if you don't have a stop loss like set in mind before you get in, right? And especially when moves start to extend larger and larger and larger, like that drawdown to the consolidation and to a valid stop loss can become larger and larger and larger. And so it's, it can throw off the risk reward, I think. But either way, that's where SPY is approaching 464, which is less than $16 from new all-time high. Believe it or not, crazy enough. Here's oil down 3.67% today. I was looking at it and I was like, this is honestly not a great setup for me to play, but it's like now I'm interested in oil. As much as I say, like now when I say I'm interested, I don't mean it as I'm buying. I don't mean it as I'm shorting. It just means like, okay, now we're at a spot where oil has now sold off all the way through, this mess of consolidation for the entirety of this past year. And now we're at the bottom. So if oil is going to break down here, oh shit, we could be looking at a bigger breakdown if it does break down, or we're going to get a big bounce, right? I would suspect it's been fairly aggressive to the downside, and we're probably going to, if we do test into some of these lows in the mid 60s, decent chance that there'll be some sort of bounce here, and then will the bounce hold, or will we roll over? Maybe that would be the play to short. I don't know. Either way, oil's down a lot, which is good. So it's like it's good for inflation expectations, all that stuff, which is also part of the whole picture here, because the Fed doesn't want, if people in the country are like, I think that we're going to have massive inflation down the road, that can throw off what they do today because of that. And so if people start saying, I don't think we're going to have a lot of inflation in a year, 2 years, 3 years, well, then that can be a good thing for the Fed, as in maybe they're not going to do, or maybe they act a different way, whatever the stats tell them and, whatever history tells them. Either way, this oil move is good for anyone who is traveling, driving, buying gas a lot and whatever, oil, I guess, too. So I'm liking this move. I think it's nice. Not that just from a perspective of fill up gas every couple of times a month, so it's cool. But overall, right, this has been weak on oil. So that's the deal. The back up. Let's see. Yeah, let's jump over. So here's SPY's daily chart. We'll jump through a couple of these. So SPY's daily charts here. QQQ's daily chart is also looking somewhat similar, not the exact same, but breaking its, if you want to call this a consolidation, it's breaking that consolidation now and going for the next leg. IWM, not as well, it's getting close. IWM could be looking for the next leg here soon. Let's see. This could be the trade this would be the only one that maybe interests me in maybe a breakout trade because it has yet to do it, but it would be the weaker of the bunch. So, but then again, you look at the left-hand, or you look at the right-hand side, if we zoom back out, volume profile, give it a second to load. This looks interesting to me. Let's see, as the volume profile resets here. Yeah, I mean, you're getting above this volume node. So that's I think move to 195 is not that wouldn't be that insane, right, to fill this area. So I don't know if we break out further, this would be the place I would like to be anyway, because I think that's where the best value would be if you're looking for, like, if you really are a value guy. The Dow just broke its flag. It had a little bull flag setting up. It broke that bull flag to the upside. The Dow, that blue line up there, which is now like $3.50 away or less, like $3 away on the Dow, on DIA. That is the Dow Jones all-time high, or the DIA, Dow Jones Industrial Average ETF, all-time high. So we're like right there on the Dow, which is crazy to think, right? Crazy. Look at this chart. Here's the weekly chart. Whew. But yeah, there we are. 6-pack would be hard to break. Oil. Yeah. No, I think that's, and I don't like, and it's not even the cleanest of spots too on oil. Like, check out this chart. Like, this is not the cleanest of, like, there's a bunch of like wicks and some deep wicks down to 64, under 64. Like, I don't know. My view on this is that if this area ends up getting taken out in a big way, more so, like, I'm not probably going to trade this unless the setup was like beautiful on a time frame, whatever that I was looking at. If we were to end up going like this in the coming weeks and months into like next year, if oil is down here, like, that would be pretty, I would say that'd be fairly concerning for more of a global recession. That would be more of a global recession sign, if anything, to me, which would be like, but I could see it. I could see it under 60, and I can see it down towards, in the 50 area. I could see that. It's not that insane to me, but we'll see. See what it wants to do. Silver and gold have been getting smashed. Well, here's the daily charts on them. Ever since the all-time high was set on gold, technically speaking, up here on this massive spike about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. I think a week and a half ago. Well, gold's been getting nailed. Silver more so, kind of right back into its key area. So if you're saying, if there's a spot that would be like, hey, I want to buy some silver because I wanted to get exposure to it, this is not a terrible spot based off of its prior history of bouncing off this level a lot. It could obviously break through, but this is not a terrible area to look at for silver. Gets me thinking about maybe partaking in that, depending upon what happens in the next week to 2 weeks, because it's a better deal than, for example, my Jets ETF, which would be, I have an 1850 strike. So essentially, if Jets finishes this Friday above 1850, I'll be out for like a 25 to 30% gain in a matter of like 2 months, not even less than a month and a half, which is insane for no leverage, covered calls, selling only, just buying shares. Like, that's sick to me on an ETF, not an individual stock, an ETF. Like, that's pretty cool. So if we finish, if the market stays strong or stays green this week, or if Jets stays good this week, I'll be out of that, which will free up about $2,000 of buying power. More, I guess, technically, which is why I'm thinking, maybe I can, throw some of that down onto SLV because it's not as volatile. SLV is not as volatile. Well, actually, let's see. This move down was about 11%, which is a lot, I guess. But the Jets move is a little more impressive to me. So like 20, 30%. So I was like, I might be sitting here and then I can sell 2 covered calls on SLV. So I might do that, might not. We'll see how this plays out. But it won't drastically change my portfolio by any means. But I think that would be an idea. So I'm thinking about it. Goldman isn't quite bad. Yeah, so we keep just kind of silently producing oil too, right? So that's kind of what's going on as well. Whether they're saying it or not, it's been going on under the surface. 10-year today looked like it was going to try to get back up a little bit, but it seemed to stumble as we got up towards 4.25, and then it's rolled back to 4.2. The lows were down around 4.1, which were a few days ago, last week. But the trend is pretty clear here. It's steep, so yeah, this could break, but it's pretty clear we have a nice downtrend. Let's see if I can draw. Can we actually draw a trend line in here? I guess I can just draw well, it's not perfect. You could draw something like this, roughly, if you really needed to. But yeah, we're in this downtrend. I would say you get back over 4.3, 4.35, and okay, now we're talking about the 10-year breaking back up. But still trending down. The dollar, similar, not as, actually this did bounce a bit more than seemingly trying to break its downtrend, which doesn't look terrible. This looks like maybe it's trying to do something, a little something there. But I think we can see if we got to get it back over 104.25, be the spot to break back above on the dollar, on DXY, the dollar index. So yeah, watching that will be close. If this ends up giving it up and this ends up being just like a big bear flag for the next leg down, I don't know. If that occurs, then yes, that would be great for silver and gold, you would think. Also, not like I'm trying to position that way, but if I go to the monthly chart on this, it's trending up. So, back for many, many, many years now you're looking. So, yeah, I would need to see like this area breaking down. If that breaks down, oh shit, now we can talk. But if that doesn't break down, it's not as juicy of an idea on the gold and silver. However, gold and silver, with the dollar general move over the past decade to 2 decades, if you jump over to gold and silver, they've actually held up decently despite that same time frame here. But look at gold, right? So it's actually not a perfect correlation like that. They're useful, but they're not perfect correlations. As we can see, though, gold with a failed breakout so far, and I wouldn't say that that's the end of the world. We start to break down under 1800, then I would be more concerned. Long way to go to get there on gold, so we'll see. But like we were talking a couple weeks back, the gold monthly chart, which I'm looking at now, it looks pretty good. Like, this does look juicy for more. Now, will that end up confirming? We shall see. Silver, different story, but I think silver, I like the potential breakout here if it can get that. Again, it's a big if. That could be good for a push up to here, and then dare we say somewhere up in here as, breakout targets. But we're talking big picture months out probably, so not something that I'm like, oh my God, tomorrow. What's going on, Millen? What is going on? We are... 218. I usually go Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Today, yesterday I had PT, so I could not. But so we'll do it today. I'm going to be moving on Friday. So that's going to be a big day, I guess, of travel. But see what we can do in the coming days until then. Bitcoin 41K right now as it sits, roughly. I did play the breakout on this. I sold again, like along the way up here. Nice little chopping away. Got close, got about 1,000 or so away from my ultimate target, which is up, up in here roughly on the highs. And I moved my stop loss to somewhere up in here. 39,000, something like that. And, we'll see. Either that's going to hit, which is above my average entry, which is like down here, or it's going to reverse and go to my take profit up here. I don't know. We'll see what happens. One of those will happen. And when they do, then I will exit the rest of the Bitcoin trade. Either way, it was a good trade. It just, could have maximized, could have sold a little more, I guess. And, we all look back. This was also just looking like a bull flag as well. But again, right, big moves. It's had its big moves. Not surprised it needs a pullback. Natural gas got annihilated yesterday. Let's see. Oh, gosh. Yeah. That's getting hit pretty hard. Me and my natural gas battles back in the day. Probably would have lost on this one somehow, no matter what. But I guess you could have maybe made the argument that you had a uptrend break. Well, not maybe, you did. That's a pretty clean one, too. A couple weeks ago, and then it just shit around for a couple days and on high volume yesterday as well. So it's notable. IMPP brokers is now inside gap fill zone. You know what I was gonna do? I was gonna do that today, and I didn't do it yet. So we can do that right now. I was gonna look at some small caps. We'll see what happens on the backside of tomorrow. But yeah, that looks pretty good for IMPP, by the way. Looks very good. But I was going to look at some small caps and see, where was the trade idea we had? If there's anything interesting in the small cap watch list. I don't even know. I have one small cap that I'm in. And it is approaching lows, which means I might buy more. I don't have a lot of money in it. It's actually a very small amount of money in this thing. And it's a piece of shit company, that is for sure. But boosting Bitcoin mining operations. Acquire up to 15 million shares of its common stock. I don't know. Either way, looking for a spike to get out. That's really it. But it's, piece of the pie. Let's look at other small caps. This is a good time of year, I think, to be looking at them. Here's the small cap watch list. AIHS is up 30% today. Probably we got to get this off the list. Yep. So that was one of those examples, not examples, but that was one of those plays we were looking at. And I'm going to get this off my list because it's had good volume and it's already popped monstrously off the lows, over 100% off its lows, which means no go. But if you were looking at it and you were saying, hey, we got some high volume here as we're drilling down to new lows, that could be interesting. Well, guess what? You're now getting rewarded with a nice bounce. So that's a good example of the strat working out. GMBL, this thing is getting absolutely destroyed. I'm not touching a stock. Holy shit. Jeez. Talking about a cent and a half. That's what GMBL is going for. Insanely high volume, though. So something's going on. I'm not touching a stock. I don't think I've ever played a stock that cheap. I've never been an OTC guy either. So I was just, might leave that alone. Let's see. A couple other guys, looks like they went under. NXTC. Well, no, it's there. It's showing up, but I think I'm gonna get rid of that guy off the list. Let's go through a couple of these. There's only like 20 of them, maybe 25 max. Can rip through a few of these guys and see. I'm just gonna refresh my trading view just to make sure this thing works. We rip through this thing quickly. Hopefully, I can try to. Not hopefully, but I'm excited to soon. Maybe make an upgrade to the computer situation. Not that this computer is bad at all. I like this computer a lot. It's just that as I have progressed in my life, I start to realize that I run a lot of programs. And if I want to run more programs on the same computer, I need a beast. I can't have a piece of shit. Not that piece of shit. I can't have a little, little computer huffing and puffing. I need a beast that can handle it all without huffing and puffing. So that's the plan. But nothing super urgent anyway. So AYRO, I don't know if I would be interested in this chart. I really don't think I'm interested in this chart. So I'm going to get rid of this. I don't really care. Not that it's bad. ACHL, I had an alert set on this level, and it did break below this level. I remember getting alerted and I just didn't buy it. And it's now bounced. Nothing massive, but from that alert, it's bounced about 30%. So that's pretty cool, if anyone was looking at that. WISA, this I have not left the list, but I already sold this for very, very nice gains on the day that it spiked up massively. It spiked over 100%. So I sold that, and it's now down to approaching new lows, which is not super surprising, as if you don't sell the pop, you can get screwed. So that's the plan of getting out, right? FNCH, same kind of situation. This thing did have a pop from 360 all the way to 570. And now it's going to new lows. It's kind of the same, standard move you're seeing across a lot of stocks. Popping and then just getting shellacked right back down. And so now here we are back down towards lows. I gotta go through this and just see like if there's anything that really catches my eye. I'm like, oh shoot, like that could be a good trade, or that could be a nice, one to add to the arsenal into year end. This is that time of year to be looking at the cheapies. The cheapies. Grom could be interesting. Now, how's that volume looking? There's something going on here. A little something. Nothing crazy, but there's some. Just made a new low today, under $1. That's not a bad look, honestly. I like the Grom looking. Like, this is the type of chart I want to see. I want to see this thing see these things getting destroyed, but I also want to see high volume. So you got to have high volume. If you can do that, we'll look good. LGMK, this one actually was one that I was in. I made some money on it. Then they did an offering, and now it's getting destroyed. I've left it on the list because why not? But you got a nice gap to fill here. Maybe it's a play. Volume stays high. If it can, sell off a bit more, we'll see if it falls under $1. DCFC, pretty good volume since the last earnings report a few months back, and as it trends lower, volume has gotten better, so this could be one to keep on the list. This is a decent looking, promising play. Wow, IPSC, jeez, look at that beast. So that one was one that we were looking at. That's already popped. We can get that one off the list because that's already gone for us, so we can't play it. Rev B, dropping down to 50-cent area now. Some better volume since a couple of days ago, but it's not a bad looking chart. This thing is getting just gotten destroyed, so I like these charts. If the volume can stay elevated, maybe there's something to be said into year end. PIK, could be a play. I think we were looking at this one a while back, and it had now broken underneath a key area support, and it's kind of just shitting around, which if we look at this chart and you look at the recent volume, look at that volume, guys, by the way. That's pretty good. If you exclude the spikes here, which went from 59 cents to over $1, so approximately 100% on those spikes back in August, which is not the best of times for small caps, by the way. So considering it spiked 100% in August, that's a great sign. What can it do in December, January? Well, gets me a little pumped up. But yeah, so broke down here, high volume. I like the looks. This might not be a bad idea. Might not be bad. Now, it could totally go to zero. But quarter revenues of 3.4 million. Would want to check in on some of their numbers, which I might do, but that's actually probably one of my favorite looking charts, to be honest with you. Because I like how we just broke down on this key support. Like, the support held for like a year, and it broke down below it, and you're getting some spikes, some volumes coming in. I like that. Getting this one off the list. VISL, get the fuck out of here. NUWE, could be something to look at. AGRI also could be, but just spiked though. Went from 84 to 2. Just spiked a lot. I don't know if I want to play that one too recently. ALZN, oh yeah, down at $1. Probably want to see it inside $1, but gap to fill to 255. I like that. APVO, yeah, could be good. Got some volume. Got some good volume as of late. Not a bad looking play. Yeah, I like that too. There's a couple on here I think that could be worth spreading a couple of coins out across. A couple of bills. Yeah. Yep. I think two of my interests would be PIK, APVO. Yep, APVO. And then, was it JVA? Yeah, maybe. APVO was interesting. Yeah, PIK, APVO, and then I think it was DCFC. Yep, DCFC was another one. And those look interesting to me. Those look interesting. Let's look at Seeking Alpha and see if they have anything decent in here. So let's look at PIK, see what their numbers look like. How screwed are they? If they're not super screwed, then this is something playable. So financial results. Let's look at these financial results. Let's look for cash. Cash, baby. These are not in thousands. They've got approximately $55,000 in cash, which is terrible. It's pretty bad. Unaudited too. That's not great. Not great. Not great. Okay, well, reduce purchase on new inventory and are focused on increasing sales from our current elevated inventory level, which we believe support our cash flow needs in the short term. So they say that their cash flow needs are fine in the short term. Probably going to offer if they spike, but that's not terrible. We've seen much worse. We've seen worse. Okay, and that's on PIK. So let's see. That puts me. We're looking at a float of 237,000. This is a very, very tiny float. You're looking at a market cap of under 4 million. Yeah. We're gonna go. Not that I'm going huge. I'm gonna put the order in right now. Year end, baby. I didn't know. Webull's cash management pays you every single day, even on the weekends. Didn't realize that. Totally funny, but we are getting paid. Oh shit, that's down a good bit. But it's not a lot of money that I'm in on this, so yeah, I might add to that. I might not, but I'm gonna go PIK though. I'm gonna go PIK. I'm gonna go with that, and I'm gonna leave it alone for there. I do like other ones, but I think PIK with the float into end of year and the prior history of spikes, just absolutely love that. So that's my favorite. Can we get filled is the question. I have no idea. How many shares do I buy? Let's see. I don't know. When I do this, I'm looking at a couple hundred. Like, I'm not looking at putting thousands of dollars into this stuff. This is a couple $100s, and that's really all I'm playing with on each of these because it's not worth more to me. If it's not a super consistent strat outside of this time of year, it's the best time of year seasonality-wise. But strategy-wise, it's a challenge sometimes. It's a let's do. Yes, that's a decent amount. So the order is in. See if it fills. All right, we can get out of small caps for now. Micro caps really is what it is. ORCL. Let's pull up Oracle. And they've got a building downtown here that I have run by many times. Many times. Holy crap. The problem with that though is that earnings. What you have too is like you have a setup where you're right near a recent low, right? So if this thing just kind of chops around and flags, you can be looking at a break of consolidation for the next leg down. Especially when you have weakness relative to markets, and I think you've got that today. And if the market gets weak tomorrow or end of week, right, and this thing kind of consolidates, like you could be looking like a decent pop down. So I thought. Maybe it's if you're an investor and you like Oracle, maybe it's a dip buy. But to me, this chart looks like it could be setting up for a flag here under these lows for maybe a nice little pop to the downside. We'll see. Affirm that $39 area. Let's see. Yeah, well, it fell below that today a bit, and then it sucked it right back up. So it's trying to hold this area. But we are looking at this $40 level was, I believe, the high back from the summer of 2022. So last summer you're looking at. You're at that high. It's made such a big move, dude. I mean, like that's my only problem was like it's made such. I don't really have any interest in it. It's just made such a big move. So we'll see, but. If I get filled on the PIK play, then I will put my targets in accordingly, but I have yet to be filled. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, going into tomorrow, well, let's check out SPY's volume. Do we have good volume is the question, I would say. I have my doubts. Well, yeah, I still got 25 minutes to go, but it doesn't look great. Yesterday's volume was not super high. The Friday volume was good, but yesterday's volume, no. Today's volume looks like it could be on track for around yesterday, maybe even a little bit less. We'll see. But you know, you'd want to see, and this is just the setup to me. It's like you can't tell. And if tomorrow is a day on SPY where the market just goes right back down to the mid 450s, but on like a huge volume red candle, I mean that would be telling to me. So if and if tomorrow is on a huge volume, like oh crap, look out, all-time highs, we're coming for you. So I guess that's the thing, but. These types of weeks, what it feels like right now is a slow grinder up. It's just slowly kind of grinding higher, nothing crazy, but it's just kind of like inching along. I don't say painfully, but it's like kind of slow, nothing crazy, nothing like if you look around at the magnificent seven, as they say, they haven't done very, very well. If I go to my trade list, that's why I've been kind of in this like weird, I don't say funk. I'm not doing anything. I'm not really doing anything, but I'm like, I just don't really see opportunities like Nvidia, Meta, I have a small position on it. Let it ride, nothing to do. AMD went absolutely freaking nuts. I don't think AMD is in the Magnificent 7, but whatever. Either way, it's a large cap. This is the only one that's been really cool to watch. I haven't been in it, and I don't think it's trade. I didn't think it was very tradable for me, so I didn't trade it, but it was a massive move. Amazon is setting up. This is definitely setting up. I think a breakout over here on high volume would be looking good for a move up into the 155 area. That's where I would look for. It's like my target into the mid 150s. That would bring you into the screw zone of the past like 2 years on Amazon, where Amazon was in a range for like literally 2 years, and it just hovered in that 155 area for so long, above and below, bouncing back and forth, crossing that level a million times. So that's why that level is an area of interest to me. But I think that would be an interesting target to have on the Amazon chart. Looks great though to me for if it breaks out, but that's a big if. The Dow's already gone for it. QQQ's already gone for it. SPY, we know it's going for it. Microsoft, is this to me tradable? Not really. I don't think, what the hell is this? So it's just chilling. Apple, I was in. I stopped out. It fucked with me a little bit, but like the reality was it never hit the stop loss. It was my question of, do I hold through CPI, PPI, and Powell? And I said, it's just not worth it because CPI could come out. And really it was just CPI, because CPI and PPI saying tomorrow morning, because I guess in theory, right, Powell tomorrow, if you got a stop loss and then you fall off to the downside and it hits, it's just at the stop. My concern was a reaction to CPI in a negative fashion to the point where it would fall under my stop loss before the market opened, which means I couldn't have stopped out on time. That would have been a pain and I would have lost more than I was anticipating. That's why I got out of it. So I kind of go back and forth, but there could have stayed in it, but also fair that I did not. So I'm not really going to get mad about it. It is what it is. This week is this week, you Let's see. Why is that not working? Google, I mean, that's just like, okay, I don't, whatever that is. And for whatever reason, my mouse is not working. But Tesla, also in consolidation. So all these stocks are in consolidation. So it's just, for what I like to trade, stuff I like to trade, not much to do. You know, maybe soon there'll be opportunity, but not much to do right now. So. See, this mouse is messed up. There's freaking dog hair in here. Jeez. Of course, there's dog hair everywhere. I might have to plug it in. Sometimes I always leave my mouse, let that thing just go for a while and just forget about it sometimes. And it's like, oh shit, it's not charged. Still not in on PIK. I'm trying to get filled on that. It's just super low volume, I guess, just in general. So it's just, yeah, throw a limit order in there and see if it maybe gets filled by end of day. If not, I'll inch it up a little bit higher. Not that I'm in a massive rush to get in. But that is the only, that's not the only, that's the other second small cap. I'm just kind of keeping it a couple at a time. I think 3 at a time is probably fine. You know, could go to 5. It really got hot, but it's not really. What have we seen that has told me it's super hot in small cap land? Nothing. There's the mouse. She's back. CCCC, 4 C's in a row. That has C4 Therapeutics. That's up 100% today, which is great. Don't get me wrong, but you know, look at that ADTX. Check out this guy. ADTX, nice popper of 60 plus. It was up more than that. I mean, it was up about 100%. Looks like, yeah, pretty much over 100%. You were up earlier today, off of the lows, and it's now fallen back, only up 60%. But that was one of those where it had some good volume ever since the end of last month, this month, and it's just kind of sat on a low on a bottom and now had a nice pop. So it's the same kind of concept, same idea, what we're looking for. Had a couple nice big movers past couple weeks. And I think if we get past this CPI and all that crap, maybe there'll be some better action. Honey's good. Honey's good. She is sleeping right now. We're going to go for a decent, maybe like a 2-3 mile walk in a bit. That's the plan before it gets dark, even though it's not. It doesn't get dark for like 3 more hours, but 3 more hours is like, ah, shit. Comes up quick. I believe, though, I was looking, and we're very close to the point of the year where the days or the sun rises a little bit later for the next like couple of weeks. But I believe we're like a week or 2 out from the sunset to start getting, you know, a minute or 2 later, you know, in a couple of weeks, in a, you know, very week, 2 weeks from now, maybe, I don't know, which is nice because I like when the days get longer. That is for sure. CCCC, that's Russian, yeah. But yeah, that's the plan. Unfortunately, the move is going to be not a challenge, but it's going to be, it's a necessary thing. I'll talk more about it in the future, but yeah, it's an unfortunate situation, but you know, things in life happen. So it is what it is. And I was thinking too, I think, I don't know for sure. Is it going to be a temporary thing? I don't know how long. I don't have a timeline on it and stuff. But I'm thinking the next play would be, at a minimum, test the waters in Arizona. I think that's where I want to move next. I think. But I don't know. So we'll probably have to take some trips out, check some things out, scope it out. Check it out in the winter, check it out in the summer, see what we like, see what areas we want to be, and then make a play or make a move at some point. That's my thinking. Nothing against Austin. Austin's cool. But I think from what I'm looking for, I think Arizona would be my logical next potential home. We'll see. So we're moving out of Austin. Technically, I'll be back here like a decent amount over the next like probably a couple months to year. And then from there, we'll have to make a move or decision and, at some point. So we'll see. We will see. But, it'll be okay. At the end of the day, nothing really will change that much. VIX is down under 12. Holy crap. Whoop. Like we were saying, I think we were saying this 2 weeks ago or whatever, a week ago. We're like, yeah, you get past CPI, PPI, Powell, and if the market just kind of inches higher, or we get past it and it's no one cares, no one bats an eye. I mean, you can be looking at the bear flag breakdown. We're kind of getting that right now, as you can see. Now, of course, you're going into tomorrow at the risk, but VIX under 12, baby. VIX under 12. It can keep going lower. Now, lower it goes, better risk reward you got for a potential long, but, besides the point. Yeah, from my interests and lifestyle perspective, I think when I say Arizona, it has more of what I'm interested in as I've gotten more into. I've just started to realize what do I like to do? What do I like to do? And I'm like, nothing against Austin, but I'm like, it has become a different place. It's definitely become a different place from when I moved here for sure. But also just I have realized, not that Austin's a huge city. It's not a big city compared to New York, which I'm used to, being up from Connecticut for 20 years of my life. I definitely do not want to live in a city. Definitely not. So I will not be, not that we moved out of the city now here for the past year, but I'm not interested in going back to a city. But I would like to be in a built up area enough where there's shit. It's not like I don't want to be in the middle of nowhere. I'd like to be where there's stuff, but it's not super built up like a city, but it's also not desolate. And then Arizona has a lot of hiking, a lot of forests, a lot of awesome honestly, for an outdoors person, if you like any outdoor activities. Now, of course, it can get pretty hot. Don't get me wrong. In the desert down by Phoenix and stuff. But there's mountains too. And if you go up towards Sedona, Flagstaff in the summertime, not going to be as hot. It can totally get hot, not as hot. So I feel like somewhere in between. But then again, you're kind of in the middle of nowhere. So I feel like there's going to be a logical spot would be north of Phoenix, on the outskirts of Phoenix, maybe even pushing further north. We'll see. I don't know. Got to check it out. Got to get a feel for it and see what I like. But I think from that view, I just picture myself kind of like people out in California. I don't want to live in California, but kind of like people out in California. There's a lot of people out in LA and stuff who are in the outskirts of LA. I'm not saying in LA, outskirts of LA, where, you've got mountains, you've got hiking, you've got some pretty cool stuff, not that far out the door really. And so I feel like Arizona, cheaper option compared. I think that would be something I'm interested in. Not to mention, you've got, depending on where you live, you can take a day trip. You can get out in a day to the coast if you wanted to, get up to the mountains, Telluride, Salt Lake City, even southern Utah, out to the mountains to ski if you wanted to in the wintertime. And I think that would be a spot. I don't know. We'll see. But I think that's maybe coming in the next 2 years, probably. Or I'll change my mind completely. I've always thought about this. I, again, go back and forth. I think that the way I kind of want to live my life has been much more, as I realize, as I get older, I start to think I want to have a lot less things hold me back, because as people get older, you have kids, you move in with someone, dogs, all these different things, right? But then you start adding all these responsibilities, all these things, and now you start living your life in a way that maybe you were like, I didn't really want all this necessarily, 5 years ago. And here I am. I kind of built it up. So I want to be more conscious of what I'm doing. And it's in a selfish way, but also not a selfish way. I don't mean it in a selfish way. It's more of it's what I want to do. And then that'll allow me to enjoy the family time, enjoy the times with friends and stuff more because I don't have a lot of the, things that maybe hold people back in general, or things holding me back to, I can't take that trip because I got XYZ, I can't do that. It's like, I don't want to be that guy as I get older, We're living in Arizona, surrounded by valleys, nice like across the horizon. Yeah, I want to be, like, I just envision like waking up before the sunrise, hiking up a mountain, and then just running down as the sun's rising. One of the most euphoric things. I feel like that would be awesome. Not that it's like an everyday thing, but I've gotten pretty big into running lately too. And Arizona is one of the coolest, I think, one of the cooler places to run outside. You've got just tons of different deserts to mountains to just, crazy geographical features, just things that are cool. I mean, some of the red rocks out in Arizona too. Flagstaff is cold, high elevation. Yeah, and if you were to go to Flagstaff, I think in the winter, the summertime, maybe it's not going to be as hot as Phoenix, and it's up a couple thousand feet, maybe more. I think you're going to get more than that. Let's see. Flagstaff elevation. Why is it 6,821 feet? I guess that's just probably maybe the center of the city. Pretty cool though, right? That's pretty high up, and you would think, geez, for the desert, yeah. There's Sedona, Prescott. Look at Sedona, holy crap. Beautiful. Phoenix. I wouldn't want to live in Phoenix, but I can see myself see all these like outer mountains. I can see myself on the outskirts, up in the mountains, or like on the foothills of the mountains. I don't think Tucson and stuff, that's too far south. The Grand Canyon, dude. I have never been to the Grand Canyon. I would love to go to the Grand Canyon, hike that and stuff. So that's just for my lifestyle, not, what I would think I want. Wherever still an Eagles fan, yes. I'll always be an Eagles fan. Definitely. I will not change. I will not flip sides to, even if I lived near Phoenix, I would maybe go to some Cardinals games, but I would not be a Cardinals fan. I'd be a fake Cardinals fan, and then I'd be an Eagles fan when the Eagles came to town. Eagles, though, man, don't look too good right now. I've had my doubts. Like, if you go back, like this year, they have not been as like if you go compare last year's team to this year's team, records are fairly similar, I believe, for the same time of the season. I believe like around the same record. I mean, they only lost 3 games last year, all regular season. So if the Eagles, they would have to win out the rest of the year, which I guess they could do, but they don't look like they're going to do that as of right now to have the same record as last year, which is possible. But I think they'd probably lose at least one more game, I think, as much as like they probably won't be. I don't know. They might. We'll see if they'll be favored to win all the games. I don't know. Probably lose one more game, but it seems like it's going to be. It's Cowboys and Niners right now that look the best, if you ask me. And then if you were to compare to the AFC, I don't think the AFC stands a chance. Could be totally wrong, but the AFC compared to the NFC, if you pair up the top 2 teams in the NFC, which I think as of right now would be the Cowboys and Niners. You could put the Eagles in that conversation because the Eagles did play well. They beat the Dolphins. They beat the Kansas City Chiefs. So they beat the Bills, I guess. Fair. But that just shows you, like, I think the tiers. You go to the top tier, it's like Ravens, Niners. They play each other in a couple weeks. I think in 2 weeks they play each other. That's going to be a great game. We're going to really see what's up with that. I just got filled on the PIK trade. But I don't know. I mean, I would not be surprised. Maybe that doesn't happen. I wouldn't be surprised if Niners wipe the floor with the Ravens. I wouldn't be surprised. I just think it's a completely different ball game on the NFC side of the top. The top tier teams there are just way better than like most everybody else. We'll see. NFL is the NFL. Anything can happen any Sunday, right? Because they're all NFL players, all professionals. So it's not like you're playing college kids, different skill levels and natural abilities. These are the top of the top, right? So we'll see. But my Eagles, had a good run for a good chunk of the season, and now they look like shit. But it was against 2 of the better teams in the NFL. So give them that. Now they got to get back on track, and I got to show something before the end of the year, or else I'm not going to have great. If they get the wild card, they can probably win the first game because it'll probably be against whoever the AFC South winner is, who is like below 500 right now. So they can probably win that game. But outside of that, I don't know. I don't have good hopes beyond that. The Giants, I did watch that game. That was kind of funny to see. What's his name? Tommy DeVito. Tommy DeVito coming through and just looking good. Now, the thing about that is, like, just like anything else, he's getting some hype. Giants have won 3 in a row. They're probably going to get stomped at some point here soon, and that hype is going to roll out. That's kind of how it goes. Now, maybe that's a different case. I think that's what everyone was waiting for with Brock Purdy, with how he, like, has burst onto the scene, and everyone's like, no, this guy's not that good. Come on. And the guy keeps showing up and playing. What ends up happening is that teams can figure your shit out, and then it becomes, all right, we're going to stop this, we're going to stop this, and we're going to stop this, beat us a different way. And either the guy can or he can't. Most guys, eventually, after their little run, they will not be able to do it. And then that hype will fade out, and then they become, what they become. If they can, like Purdy kind of did, and I think very few guys do over the course of their career, who come from a backup role and then win the starting job and go forward, you got it. You got something special, right? So, okay, yeah, so back to that PIK chart. I'm going to set my orders here. Sell orders. So I sell 50% and then 100% roughly are the two areas I look for, two targets. So 50% from here would be approximately 60 cents. And then 100% would be 80 cents. So I'll go 60 and 80 cents. I'll go 59 cents and I'll go 79 cents on the two sells. That's what I'll do. Boom, boom, boom. 59.9 sell. So I set these orders. Once I set them, we let them do their thing, and we chill. Boom, boom, boom. The 2 orders are now in. So the sells have been set, I think. Double check my orders. Yep, we are good to go. So, see what happens. Yeah, but I was looking at that. The Giants technically are only 1 game out of the playoff picture here, believe it or not. So, they win again. They're right in the thick of things, it seems like, by the end of the year. Which who would have thought a couple weeks back, the Giants playoffs? No. And they probably don't make it because it's going to be tough, but yeah, they made a nice little run. That's for sure. Let's check out Fear and Greed really quick before we wrap up for the day. We at Extreme yet? Getting close, but not really pushing through. 68. Strength and breadth are good. Put calls. Funny enough, put calls have actually gone up a bit past couple of days as the market's kind of melting higher. It's kind of how it feels, right? It's feeling like more like a melting higher. That's what it seems like, versus like a ripper. It's like, it's not really ripping. It's just kind of melting higher. So we'll see. Portfolio, nothing to do there really today at all. Got a bunch of dividends reinvested back into positions that I have, so those were done, and that was the deal. I think that happened yesterday. Yeah, I had a bunch of dividends get reinvested back in yesterday. Other than that, though, portfolio is just chilling. Market's just melting higher. XBI was up today, I believe, right? Yeah, it's up 1.5%. XBI is looking pretty good. Jeez. Bouncing. It didn't look great. Now it's bouncing back. We'll see what happens by tomorrow. I mean, tomorrow's going to be the day. Tomorrow we got Powell. We got PPI. I'll be here for a stream tomorrow. I don't think I'm going to be streaming for the whole Powell press conference. It's just a waste of time in my opinion, because it's a lot of the same crap. We can come in afterwards and talk about what happened and go from there. So, with that said, I'm going to wrap things up here with a minute or two to go as the S&P is near high of the day. And we are waiting upon tomorrow Powell. I think volume was lower today. I think tomorrow will be an interesting day, see how volume comes in and where we shake out. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I will see you tomorrow afternoon for a little stream around the same time, last, hour